A spreadsheet is an electronic worksheet consisting of rows and columns that allows users to organize and manipulate data using formulae and functions. The area where a row and a column intersect is called a cell, for example, cell A2. A column on a spreadsheet runs from top to bottom, whilst a row runs from left to right. And each row is given a particular number. So for example, here we have row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Each column has a letter, so column A, column B, column C. All right. Spreadsheets are used to create personal budgets, create inventories, create and manipulate balance sheets, charts, and much more. In order to create a spreadsheet, we use what is referred to as a spreadsheet application software. For example, Microsoft Excel, Lotus 123, Google Sheet. These are some popular spreadsheet application software that you'll find out there. This is the general interface of the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet window. So here we have the quick access toolbar, which is up here. We have our formula bar right here. We have our ribbon, and our ribbon consists of groups, and within each group we have buttons that can be used to achieve different tasks. So here is maybe a better view of what this spreadsheet window looks like. So here we have our tabs, like the home tab is here. We have our file tab and so forth. So if you observe, once you click on a particular tab, you get the option to carry out different tasks. So depending on what you intend to achieve, then you will be choosing the respective tabs. Now, on the ribbon, as I said before, we have different groups. So like this, we have the font group. So if you want to do anything that has to do with the manipulation of fonts, like to make them bold, italic, underline, and so forth, we would go to the font group. We have our alignment group. Of course, here we have different alignments and also merge and center that can also be applied to the spreadsheet. So it's really dependent on what you intend to achieve. You would make your selection. We also have our scroll bars, our vertical as well as our horizontal scroll bar. Now, the area created where the column and the row meets within the spreadsheet is referred to as a cell. So for example, here we have column B and row 6. So this is called B6. All right. And it is within the cells that we actually enter data. Now, some items that can be entered within a cell of a spreadsheet include a value, which would be like a number or numeric data, label, which would be like a text used to describe the content of the spreadsheet. We have our formula, which is a user-defined calculation. So, and each formula starts with an equal sign. We also have predefined formula known as functions. These come with the spreadsheet application, and of course you can use them to carry out different tasks. Now, a formula always starts with an equal sign, and as I said before, we can set up our formula to achieve our user-defined calculations. All right, so especially if it's a case where there is no available function for the particular task that you wish to do, then of course you would want to create a formula. All right, so here we have examples of what the formula may look like. So for example, we have equal A2 plus A3. This simply means that we're going to be adding the content of A2 and A3 together. So for example, if A2 consists of, say, 51. So this is A2, and A3 has 49. All right. If I enter that formula, if I say equal A2 plus A3, what I'm basically asking the application to do is to add whatever is located in cell A2 to whatever is in A3. And the beauty about the spreadsheet is that the calculations are done for you automatically. So there's no need for you to get the calculator, no need to worry that hey, I don't have my calculator or my phone is dead or anything like that. Just press enter and automatically your calculation will be done. And there it is. Of course, 51 plus 49 is indeed 100. And the beauty about this too is that since we have used the cell address, all right, so each cell has a particular address as I mentioned before. So this is cell A2 and A3. So the formula here is basically pointing to the respective cells. So if I change the content of a cell, of course, the value or the result of the formula will remain correct. So if I put, for example, 84 here, of course, the answer will be updated to 133 because 84 plus 49 is 133. All right. Now, a function is a predefined formula built into the spreadsheet application, and it allows you to supply data and have the calculations performed for you automatically. Most times, what you will supply to a function is what is called a range, and a range is just a group of two or more adjacent cells. Just basically two or more cells beside each other. So, for example, right here we have a range, and this range is range A2 to A3. All right, so the quickest and easiest way to identify a range is to look at the first cell within the space and the last cell. So in this case, the first cell within this range is A2 and the last one would be A3. So we are saying that this range here is A2 to A3. But in Excel, we don't use the word TO. What we use for 2 is a colon. So anytime you see, say, A2 to A3, what we're basically referring to, it would be right here. All right, again, let me highlight another range. So let's see. So for this one, the range would be from C2. So it's the first cell that is highlighted to the last cell. So it will be C2. Let me just highlight the space as well. Applying some borders. So this will be from C2 to E7. So the range here would be C2 to E7. All right, very important that we know what a range is, because of course we may want to use it when we're manipulating our functions. All right, good. So there are quite a number of functions that can be that we can use in our spreadsheet, and here we have a list of a few. We have the sum function, and as the name suggests, the sum function is used to find the total of a set of values, basically to add up the values within a particular range. So once this function is supplied with the range of values that it's to find the total for, it will automatically get it done for you. So let's jump over here and look. So for example, instead of typing the formula there, let's say I wanted to use the sum function. I could have said equals sum, open bracket, and specify the range. In this case, it's A2 to A3. So once we put that in and press enter, the calculation will be done for us automatically. So that's how quick and easy we can actually manipulate our spreadsheet. All right. So we have other formula like count. We have min. Count will count the number of values within a particular range. All right. So count the number of values within a particular range. Let me just point out that to you. So if I want to see how many numbers are here, if I say equal count and specify the range, like just for these, that should give me 2. All right. As a matter of fact, let me take it from up A1. All right. So if I say equal count and put A1 to A3, even though it's 3, we have 3 rows here, it's only giving me 2 because it's only 2 numbers that we have within this range right here. All right. So we're looking at this range, Let me also point something else out as we while we're here. So if, for example, I put in a label. So let's say I put in a label like say grade. Count is not going to count the label because it's not a value. The count function only counts. So the count function will not count the labels. Now, if it's a case that we wish to count labels or to count text within the spreadsheet. So example, let's say we have some names like him, Karen, Leonard, right? Marlon. So if we wish to count the labels, all right? So these are some text. So if we wish to count these, yes, you may be tempted to say equal count. You may want to count these, all right? Now, if you try that, you're going to get 0 because the count function does not count labels. It just counts values, all right? So to count labels, what we use is count A, all right? So you use a count A function, and that will count the number of cells within the range. That once the cells are not empty, it will count those, all right? All right, hope you're following, all right? Good. So there are quite a number of other functions that we have. We have count if, we have sum if, we have VLOOKUP, we have average, we have maximum, minimum, and so forth. All right, so we're gonna be setting up a spreadsheet now that will allow us to actually use some of these functions mentioned earlier on. All right, so I've already typed up the spreadsheet. I'm just gonna copy these over, and together we're gonna be manipulating the spreadsheet. All right. Now I should also point out to you that Microsoft Excel comes with it first of all, it presents you with a workbook. So what we have here is a workbook, and as the name suggests, a book comes with pages, sheets. So we are on sheet 1. I'm gonna go on sheet 2. So we have you can create different sheets in the spreadsheet, and of course that will help us in organizing and manipulating our data. All right, so we're gonna look at how we may enter and manipulate the data set here using some formula as well as functions. All right, so we have on the screen here a very basic spreadsheet. So we have some students' name. You might be familiar with some of them, and these are not their real grades. We just made up these numbers. All right, so we are saying here that in order to find the total for a Tardo's grade, we're basically going to be adding what is in cell C2 to what is in cell D2. All right, let me just clear what is here. All right, so I'm going to clear the content of what is here, what is in this cell. There's a clear function over here, or a clear button. So we can actually use it to clear different things. I could say clear format, and that should remove the format from the data set. I could also say clear content, and of course that will remove the content. However, you do not necessarily have to go through all that headache, so to speak, to clear the content. You will just press delete after you have highlighted. All right, so now we are gonna enter, I'm gonna use a formula for this one. So the formula that we are using is we're gonna be adding C2 to D2. So we're basically gonna be saying equal C2 plus D2. So once you have entered your formula, just press enter and you'll get your answer. And the beauty about, another beautiful thing about the spreadsheet is like you don't have to retype the formula for the others. So like down here for JC and Marshall, yes, you may want to say equal C3 this time because it's her grade is in C3 and we're gonna add that to D3. All right, press enter. Fine, you could, go down and type it over and over like that, but that's not the best option. So what we're gonna be doing is we'll be using what is called autofill. So we're gonna put the pointer here till we get this black cross. Notice the color of the cross, not this one. Whenever the cross or the cursor looks like this, this cross inside is white. So this one is basically used when you're highlighting like a cell. But when we get the one that looks like this, a black one with no arrows at the side, this one allows us to do what is called autofill. So it basically will automatically fill in the cells as we drag it down. So we're going to click till we get that cross and hold on the left button and drag down. And that will basically copy the formula for us down. And I'm going to stop right here at Simit. All right. And if you check them now, you'll notice. So you can check by looking at the formula bar up here. So if you click on 158, there it is, says C4 plus D4. I didn't type C4 plus D4, it just autofill C4 plus D4 for us. All right, good. So those are the different formula. So we're gonna use some functions down here. So we're gonna look at how we can manipulate the content here using some functions. All right, so let's jump on it. So we're gonna find the total for the maths grade. So if we find in the total, we're basically adding up. So we're gonna just use the sum function. So we're gonna say equals sum. I'm gonna specify the range that we wish to find the sum for. Like in this case, it's the range C2 to C8. Close bracket, press enter. Of course, for this one, it's still gonna be sum, so it's gonna be D2 to D8. Again, there's no need to retype the form. And the max will return the highest value within the space, within the range. In this case, 98. I'm gonna just drag this across for the others. And then to find the lowest, I'm gonna say equal min, specify the range. In this case, the range is from C2 to C8, close our bracket, press enter. And of course, that will give us the smallest value within the space. All right, wonderful. And we're just, all right, so let me jump back into program. There it is. All right, so it's working. Oh, and my battery is low. So power into this laptop so I don't shut down. Good. And now we're gonna count the number of students. Again, if we're counting the values, we can use our count function. But if we're not counting the values, so we want to count just the cells that are not empty, we're gonna have to use a count. All right, so we're gonna say equal count. All right, let me sort out this battery. Okay, so to count the number of students, I could say equal count, open bracket. We're counting from C2 to C8. Enter. And just gonna drag this across. That will count for us. All right. We'll add another column to record the genders. All right, so we're gonna add a column between B and C. To do that, just right click on C and choose insert, and that will put a column between B and C. In this column, I'm gonna put 6. All right. So I'm gonna just specify the gender and the sex for each student. So for Attar the Alin, male indicated by M. For Jason, Marshall, female, F. Gervani Morris, male. Freeborn, female. Davy, male. Ulrich, female. And Mr. Simit, male. All right, good. Now, given that we have the genders here, what if we want to find out the number of boys? All right. So if we wish to find the number of boys, you might be tempted to go and search for the males manually, but that's not ideal. It would have had like 1,000 different rules on how difficult that would be. Now there's a function from our list. Let me just pull up back our list of functions that we can use. So if we want to count based on a particular condition, like in this case, we're not counting everyone, just counting the boys, we could use what is called the count if function. So let's look at how that would be used in this scenario. So we'd basically say equal count if, and we specify the range. As you can see, there's a little screen tick there that gives you a little assistance. So we're gonna highlight the range. In this case, it's from C2 to C8. And then we specify our condition. Right? In this case, the condition, since we want to count the males, it will just be M. So basically, once you press enter, it will show you that you have 4 boys. And of course, you can pause the video and try to work out the number of girls. And yes, you're thinking right. It's equal count if, again, specify the range. So it is from C2 to C8. And the condition or the criteria is F. And that counts the number of females, which is 3 in this case. All right. So that's how we manipulate our spreadsheet using some basic formula. And of course, whilst we are at it, let's also apply a bit of formatting before we get to our next video. So first of all, we're going to apply some shading here. So you can change the background color of the cell. I use yellow. We can, of course, make it bold. It was bold, but if you want to, you can just go to the font group and get the. You may be wondering at this point, how did I get the borders? Of course, if you click on home and go to the font group, you notice here there's an option there for border. So if you select the arrow to the right, you'll see all borders. All right, I'm gonna apply the borders down here as well. Just click there. and it will be applied. All right. Also, if you observe here, um, the number of decimal places is a little inconsistent. Like for this one, we have 2, 4, 7 different 7 decimal places. Let's see if we can format the numbers so that all of them have like, like a single decimal place. All right. Of course, to do this, the quick and easy way to do it is to go to Home and go over to our Number tab. And of course, we have two options here. So we have one that will increase the number of decimal places, and we have one that's going to reduce the number of decimal places. So we're going to reduce the number of decimal places to 1. All right, good. And of course, you can click here, right here, and you get a little pop-up that provides you with more options. So here we are on the format cell pop-up. If you go to number, you can actually specify the number of decimal places if you don't want to click on those buttons to adjust them. All right, so we're using 1 decimal place. If it's a case that you're dealing with money, you could just hit currency and it will provide a dollar sign and so forth. All right, and there are other options that I do encourage you to manipulate. Good. All right. The next thing, or the final thing that I want to do before I close off this video, is to sort the spreadsheet. And I'm going to sort the spreadsheet based on gender, uh, last name, and first name. So to sort the spreadsheet, we're basically going to be arranging the spreadsheet, the data within alphabetical order. So I'm going to arrange them. I'm going to put the males first. So I'm going to sort by gender in descending order. So to sort, we're going to go to the Data tab and choose Sort. And here we're going to choose, let's say Sort by, we're going to choose sex. And we're going from not A to Z, but Z to A. Click OK. All right. Now I also want to sort by the names. I want the persons to be arranged based on their last name. So I'm going to sort by last name followed by first name. To achieve this, I'll go back to sort. We're not going to just change this from sex to last name. We're going to leave sex there as the first one, but we're going to add a new level. We're going to choose add level. And we're going to put in last name. And we're going from A to Z. All right, so as you can see, they are now sorted by sex and they're also sorted by last name. We also want to sort by first name as well. So add another level. All right. All right, let me just cancel. Well, I don't have to cancel it. Just for simplicity and for order. So if I click here and choose add another level, it will add a level in the correct space. All right, so I'm going to add a level down here. So I want to sort by first name in ascending order. So I could have selected all of this in one go, but just to point out to you. And there it is. We have the data sorted. So stay tuned as we continue to explore this wonderful application.